you go. Oh, that hurt. Running the table. You know what I always say? Win if you can, lose if you must. But always.
What's up, guys? This is Lucky. Welcome back. I got more Uncharted today, and it's a follow-up to the gun guide, the last thing that I did. I know that you've been waiting a little bit, and I apologize for that, but I've been trying to get some more information from different sources, and I wanted to clarify a few things. One, I've got a few minor corrections to make, and then I'm going to go into a discussion about Recoil mod versus the Accuracy mod and kind of what they do. I've been trying to find out from the inside what exactly that does, but I think I've kind of determined it myself through some various tests and stuff, and we may get a little mathy on you. A little bit of math may come into play here, so I apologize. Don't want to bore you with that, but it may. But we got Victor rocking the AK-47 silenced on remnants, and we're gonna do this. And then I've also got rounds per minute of all the guns I discussed, and I'll go into my calculations later. So first, let's start with my minor corrections. It's on body shots to down. The MP34A and the AK-47 are actually 7 body shots to down, not 6 and 8 respectively. So one goes slightly up, one goes slightly down. And the XCR is actually 9 body shots to down and not 10. So a little bit less there. And then I go down, dude. Dude, I had just picked you up. And what do? Do you pick us up? No, you run back into the fray. Thank you, bro. Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Thank you.
Love good teammates. Hate shit teammates. But anyway, enough of that. Those are my corrections. Just like a few minor changes to body shots. So let's get into recoil versus accuracy and exactly what I think is going on. Now, again, without access to the actual code, I can't tell you for sure exactly what's going on. And I've tried to find out from various sources and people inside Naughty Dog. But I have run a few tests, and I've got a pretty good idea exactly what's going on. So with no mod, you basically get your normal distribution of shots, basically left, far right, and center. But with the accuracy mod, it seems like a higher percentage of shots or a higher number of shots return to center, basically. Whereas recoil, you get the same distribution of shots left and right, but it basically counteracts your vertical recoil. So recoil is basically going to offset that vertical recoil. It's not going to offset basically the left and right rocking of the gun per se, but it will offset that vertical recoil. So something on like the HS39 got that heavy vertical recoil and doesn't have very much left and right swagger, then basically it's going to be really good. Now what you're seeing here is what you call standard deviation. So with the accuracy mod, basically a higher number of your shots are going to come in dead center. Whereas recoil or no mod at all, a lower number of your shots are going to come in dead center. Now you may want to take that back and like pause that for a second. Bam, boom. But that's essentially how it works. Like with no mod at all, basically your gun recoil, especially in the MP34 and I think the AK-47, it like veers slightly left. So you have a slightly higher percentage of those shots that are kind of coming left. So you're kind of rocking more left than you are right, and more left even than you are center. It's still got the same left and right. Like you still have a shot that's likely to go off just as far to the left and just as far to the right. You're just going to have less of those bullets that do that, and you're going to have more bullets come in dead center. So I think what they're doing is they're messing with basically kind of the standard deviation basically of your bullet spray. So you have more bullets coming in dead center to your crosshairs. Now, that's not to say that maybe Naughty Dog is doing something else here. Maybe there's some aim assist going on. Maybe there's something else in play. But basically on the tests that I ran and like looking at the test and my own experience, I feel like this is what's actually going on. So, what does this mean? Well, what this means is that if you have guns with moderate recoil, not like heavy recoil, like the AK-47 or the MP-34A, and they have that kind of zigzag recoil like they do, accuracy might be a better choice because more of your bullets are going to return dead center to your crosshairs, and that means you're going to down your opponent faster. Whereas a gun like the HS-39 that has that straight vertical recoil, it doesn't have a big zigzag pattern to it anyway already, right? So kind of perhaps you're better off with recoil mod, which is going to center, basically it's going to offset that vertical recoil. Now in general, I think the recoil mod in general is better. And just by looking at this, and if this is actually accurate, and if this is true, and this is how it works, I feel like the accuracy mod is probably overpriced at 4 loadout points. 2 loadout points was probably a little too cheap. 3 loadout points is probably more in line with where it should be, because you still have to deal with that vertical recoil. But on some guns with more moderate recoil, that could be like a very good thing. Now, let's get into the next juicy bit of tidbit, which is the rounds per minute that I've got basically for these different guns. And how I calculated this was I went back to my gun recoil tests and I timed the exact amount of time in thousandths of a second, how long it took me to unload an entire clip. And then I divided the number of rounds in that clip by the number of seconds that it took. And that gave me basically the rounds per second. And then I was able to then multiply by 60 and get the rounds per minute per gun. So, and then I'm also able to extrapolate that and compare that time to kill, looking at just body damage only, and find out basically time to kill for body damage, for body shots. So, let's run down this list. We're going to do all 10 guns right here. And, now, keep in mind, like, this is totally inaccurate, right? I don't have access to the code. I'm basing this off of the time it took me. You know, I'm having to pick when the start and end time is. So I could have been off by like tenths of a second, thousandths of a second. That would have adjusted these numbers. But they should be close within like about 5%, right? So the AK-47 I have coming in at 470 rounds per minute. And basically I want to go with the MP-34A. It's coming in at 505 rounds per minute. And the HS-39, which has a similar damage profile, is coming in at 530 rounds per minute. So my tests confirm that the HS-39 does in fact fire a little bit faster than the AK-47 and a little bit faster than the MP-34A. Although the MP-34A does fire faster than the AK. Slightly, which means you should have slightly lower time to kill with basically the HS-39 or the MP-34A, assuming you hit all your shots. And that's the big trick, right? You have to hit all your shots, right, to get that lower time to kill. And with guns with the higher rounds per minute, they've got more recoil, and therefore you're likely to miss more shots. Let's look at the Copperhead and the Arrowhead, which are also similar guns. The Copperhead fires a whopping 618 rounds per second. And the Arrowhead fires 548 rounds per second, which is actually very, very similar to the HS-39. So chances are they have kind of the same kind of rate of fire, but you're looking at one that basically kind of has that secondary zoom and one doesn't. Also seems like the HS-39 kind of holds its damage a little bit farther out. So in general, I think the HS-39 may be a slightly better choice. But again, some of this stuff may just come down to preference, like which one you get the most downs with. Alright, so let's walk through the rest of these. The FOUL is an interesting one because I have to time. The time within the burst is 420 rounds per minute, but between bursts, the actual rate of fire is 268 rounds per minute. The M14 Custom shoots 104 rounds per minute. The XCR, which is our second highest rate of fire, 692 rounds per minute, compared to the P90, which actually does fire faster at the highest rate of fire, 764 rounds per minute. The thing is, though, if the P90 actually is 10 body shots to down, it's 0.79 seconds time to kill with it. The XCR is only 9 body shots to down with the better blind fire accuracy, and that's 0.77 seconds to kill. Slightly better, just fractions. You're talking 200ths of a second. Now, one of my minor corrections is one of my guys who commented said that the P90 with blind fire accuracy is actually quite excellent. I had said in my gun guide that it wasn't, but I also said, you know, we haven't tested these yet. And he swears by it, so perhaps give that a shot, see what you like it with that faster rounds per minute. You know, and it beats it, you know, by at least, like almost 70 rounds per minute. Then it will probably beat the XCR. But otherwise, I still think in a blind fire fight, the XCR is still probably your better choice. Just my personal opinion. The shotgun comes in at a terrible 45 rounds per minute. And the Mazur, of course, it's a bolt-action sniper rifle, 42 rounds per minute. The Metler shoots 155 rounds per minute. And I think that is all of our guns. And so some very interesting stats here. Very, very interesting. So you guys take from this, go out there, kill people, tear people up. I hope it helps you pick your gun. Ultimately, it comes down to like what you love, what you get kills with, what works the best for you. I strongly advise you to experiment. I'd love to hear you guys' feedback. I appreciate all the love and support that I've gotten on my last video. And again, please help me promote it. I did a lot of work on it, so I'd really like to get it out there. I love you guys. This is Lucky signing out.
Get it, kids. Good
Peace.
job.